In the One Punch Man series, there is no stronger figure than the main protagonist, Saitama. Since the beginning of the series, we have seen how Saitama became an incredibly strong figure. He is even capable of destroying his enemies with just one hit. Even so, people don't know this formidable power that Saitama has. On the other hand, with this tremendous power, Saitama often becomes lazy to interfere in various events. According to him, every time he destroys his enemy with one attack, it makes him bored and unmotivated. Saitama himself is still waiting for a very powerful power, which is able to match his strength. Talking about Saitama's power, we still don't know his origin. Until now, neither one nor Yusuke Murata have provided detailed information about Saitama's strength. This is what then makes many fans speculate about it. There has been much speculation and theory trying to solve this riddle. One of the highlights is how Saitama is likely a vessel for God's enemies. But before we start this video, please smash that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe and click notification bell, or you will miss future anime videos. One of the surprising moments that occurred in the Monster Association arc was the appearance of a very extraordinary mysterious figure who later became known as God. This is actually not the first appearance of the figure of God. Initially, God appeared in the form of a shadow only in chapter 109, in a flashback that recounts the moment where the homeless emperor gains power from God. God then reappears in the Monster Association arc, where it is shown he took the power he gave to the previous homeless emperor. Not only power, God also took the life of the emperor because he was considered a failure in his duties. Besides homeless emperor, another character who also gets power by the figure of God is Sikasorchi. The most recent is the figure of Garo, where this happened during a fight against Saitama. However, in truth, Garo didn't really get God's power. In the previous chapter, we saw how the villain found out that God had a devious plan. That's why he then brushed God's arm away. Even though it's just touching, it turns out that it can still be a medium to transfer God's power to Garo. What's interesting is how God said that Garo should be his avatar or container. Perhaps it was because Garo was a strong figure. So, it makes sense that God would choose Garo to be his vessel and not homeless emperor or Sickis. On the other hand, this also raises a big question mark about Saitama's figure. Is Saitama also a vessel of a powerful entity? Previously, there had been speculation that Saitama might gain powers from God. However, the various clues as well as the storyline show how the speculation is likely to be wrong. But for the speculation that Saitama is a vessel for other powerful entities is quite reasonable. The next question is, who is this powerful entity? It could be that this strong figure is God's enemy or rival. How then can Saitama become a vessel for other powerful entities? To answer that question, there are a few things in the story that could be a big clue. First, how Saitama often does physical activities such as sports. One thing that is very popular about Saitama, about his powers, is how he explains the secret of the origin of his powers. According to him, he was able to become the strong person he is now because of the training he underwent before. Saitama once told Genos that the secret of his strength is an exercise menu of 100 push-ups, sit-ups, and squat jumps, and run 10 kilometers every day. Whether Saitama's answer was a joke or serious, in fact, it was most likely not true. Why? Logically, if Saitama really only relies on physical exercise as above, it seems that there are many other characters who are far more epic in terms of these exercises. For example, Super Alloy Darkshine, or even the far more experienced Silver Fang. Genos himself had denied this, saying that the training menu was only to build muscle mass. There is also speculation from Dr. Genus that Saitama has succeeded in removing the limiter in him, which can be triggered by the physical training he has been doing so far. However, again, it seems unlikely that this will happen, even though it is quite reasonable. Then, the next clue is that Saitama's power can be connected to mystical or supernatural things. In the battle between Child Emperor and Phoenix Man in One Punch Man, Saitama accidentally entered Phoenix Man's dimension, Phoenix Space. At that time, Saitama managed to defeat Phoenix Man and save the Child Emperor from his influence. This of course made many fans frown. How could Saitama be involved in something like that? Because of that, it seems that physical exercise alone will not be enough to be able to do it. Furthermore, In Garo and Saitama's initial fight, Garo had mentioned what Senti Sennin had said. The monster had spoken of his and the evil natural water's purpose in coming to Earth, which was to stop the God-defying fist. Garo had thought that the figure was him. However, after meeting Saitama, he finally realized who it was. However, of the few clues, the most striking and clear is how Saitama has powers that are beyond reason. For example, he could survive without oxygen in space. Then various epic attacks don't work or have no effect on Saitama. Examples are the nuclear fission fist attack as well as Garo's gamma ray burst. How then Saitama survived all these attacks, which should have claimed his life, gives a hint that Saitama is not an ordinary person. Or maybe what makes sense is that Saitama is similar to Garo, in that he is actually the vessel of a powerful entity. In this case, it could be that Saitama is the vessel of God's enemy. So, with all the advantages that Saitama has, he is most likely the vessel of a strong figure like Garo. Why Saitama? Perhaps, just like Garo, Saitama is a strong figure. How then he trains physically every day makes him quite capable in these matters. It could be that this mysterious figure sees great potential in Saitama as well as God sees potential in Garo. What do you think?